Doom v Vamos v Vamos Epicureans. I've got the Ron slide up. Here we go. It's a good show. This is the BCE Comics Pod one-shot edition. I'm your host, Nick Smith, and I'm joined by...
Stojr from Stojr Shelf. How's it going, Nick?
I'm good. I'm plowing right along. Who cares about mistakes? We're just putting this out there, right? We are participating in Kurtis Findlay's Epic Marvel Podcast Reading Club, and this one-shot is going to be our brief thoughts on today's issue, which is Uncanny X-Men number 191, Raiders of the Lost Temple. We're at the height of Indiana Jones, I guess, but that's okay. I like Indiana Jones. Ignore the problematic stuff. It's fun adventure. All right. The heroes launch an invasion of Kulan Goth's stronghold to take him out, only to be defeated at each step. However, a crucified Spider-Man knows the secret to defeating Kulan Goth, and that is to get rid of his amulet. But Spider-Man speaks English, and no one else in this spellbound world does. Except for the techno-organic alien Warlock, who rescued Storm in a previous fight, and Warlock manages to convey to Storm that the amulet is the key, and when Storm removes Kulan Goth's amulet, it is actually taken in possession by Selene, who had been masquerading as Amara. But in a need to ramp up the world-breaking consequences of this story, a dying Warlock turns Storm into a techno-organic alien, and then Stormlock does the same thing to Selene, and this somehow defeats her, and allows Stephen Strange, who, he was there in the background, he's able to manipulate Illyana Rasputin's mutant power to turn back time, because he found some way. Before any of this ever happened, sorry, it's as soon as I said it, Cher just burst into my ears. It was not in my notes, that just came to me. All right, so all that happens, and then at the very end, the future Sentinel Nimrod shows up and kills the guy who stole Kulan Goth's amulet, made out of eggs. We're getting late again. I'm getting silly. That then, with Nimrod showing up, that's how the timeline changed, and that's the consequence of turning back time. Oh gosh, okay, Stojr, your thoughts?
So I think the cover here is really cool. Although I think it's playing up like one panel within the actual issue. I would have probably picked something else that's more story driven. But just all the kind of floating heads, and you put the two people in the foreground fighting. Avengers versus X-Men. It's going to look kind of cool. I'm not entirely sure why Vision's not immune if Warlock is.
Thank you.
I mean, they're both mechanical robot things, but because you add the alien aspect, then Warlock's fine. Whatever. Again, magic. So I really love the opening splash page here. Like Spider-Man kind of, JR always draws a really cool bloodied and beaten up Peter Parker Spider-Man with his costume in shreds. But when I've read this in the past and rereading it now, I even had to go back and double check. I'm like, how did he get here? And yes, in the last issue, if you pay attention, like the New Mutants who are under his control, like capture him. There's a big fight, and then they sneak away with him. But it's like so quick and kind of off on the side, like you almost don't notice it if you're not paying attention too much. And I still don't understand like why he's so important, why he's immune. Maybe there's some reading comprehension that I'm missing here, but like, what am I missing that he's so important in this story?
I don't remember if it was explicitly stated or if I built a little headcanon here, but my impression is because we talked in the last episode about how Spider-Man defeated Kulan Goth by throwing his amulet into the ocean, Kulan Goth is out here to get revenge, that he has allowed Spider-Man to maintain his memory and who he is, because this is how he's going to make Spider-Man suffer for the indignity of defeating him in Marvel Team Up 79. And again, I don't remember if that was actually stated or if that's my headcanon, but that was my understanding. Because again, I still don't think Marvel Team-Up's mentioned. I still don't think that's happened.
I mean, so I guess they do allude to it. They don't mention it in the footnote, but on the page 56, so the page after this, the last panel, the last word box scroll, ripped scroll there, says, once before Kulan Goth appeared to New York to attempt his grand enchantment, only to be hurled back into the mystic abyss that was his eternal prison by the Amazing Spider-Man. Tonight, the hero pays the price for his courage and victory. I mean, like, there's 15 of these word things on this page, right? And like that is like the crucial piece of information that you can, if it like it doesn't have any more importance here. It's not like emphasized. It's just it's here with a whole bunch of other exposition that you're reading through. So, you know, again, it just goes back to what we talked about last issue. Every time I've read this, I always felt like I was missing something. And then when I got the Epic collection and was like, oh no, this is only like a 2-issue story, I'm not missing anything. Now, obviously, you've revealed some things to me that I'm missing some backstory with the Marvel Team Up issue, but it wasn't super clear as you go through this. I think the issue's fine. Like, there's a lot more like fighting in this issue. A lot of everything's kind of hitting the fan here. Everything's happening very quickly, as you alluded to in your the recap of things. The whole conversation about or like the whole Warlock part kind of doesn't make a lot of sense or is a little convenient, but whatever. I'm also like maybe it's because I've been reading ahead and I'm a little lost, but like who's the redhead in here? Like the she's got like a green cloak. She's like leading them. She
Here.
almost looks like Jean Grey.
Which can you point her out on this recap page or?
No, not unless she's like in the background. Go a couple pages forward to like she's definitely on page 68.
68. Okay. Let me. I don't have the page numbers on the digital version, so let me see what 68 looks like. Okay.
Yeah.
So... I know who you're talking about. All right, let me find her. Have I gone past it? No, there she is.
No, you're good. Right here.
Okay.
So on the left-hand side.
Whoops.
All right. Well, she's at the top right too. So
yeah. So she's introduced here. She's introduced in this issue. She's not shown up anywhere. She is the archivist at the library who's been turned into what her name is there. No, her name is not there. Here. I think they're talking to her in this panel, I think is what it is.
Yeah. Well, we got 175 characters in this book. Did we really need the archivist at the library to help us out? Like, what about Stephen Strange? Like, so, look, I'm glad that you were able to pick up on that. And again, maybe I read it too quickly and I should have done my homework better for this podcast. But like, it was so easy to kind of go past some of this, some of the explanations here. And I think that's my biggest problem with this storyline. I still think that the art could be a little bit crisper with the inking. I think I have more of an issue with it in the last issue than I do here, though. I think like every panel that has Spider-Man in it, I think the blacks are black enough. The sort of wounds look good. I always like a good issue where Spider-Man has to overcome some great pain and agony to really help things out. I'm a big Peter Parker fan, so all of that's really good. But the whole ending with how this happened with Warlock feels very odd to me, very, very rushed. After reading the Kitty Pryde and Wolverine series and saying how long that took on, like I almost would have rather had this for 6 issues. And to sort of build this out a little bit more and get to know all the characters. Like the Avengers feel like window dressing for the most part throughout this whole thing. Now Cap gets some screen time and things like that. But imagine if you had like different factions and you had sort of the X-Men spread across with, Spider-Man being freed or captured with part of it and them working with the Avengers a little bit more closely. And I know they all kind of team up here and there's a little bit of that happening, but you could have really like had some good character development with that stuff. Maybe like they all kind of got their memories reset a little bit differently like Storm did and get them to know each other because do the X-Men really know half of these Avengers? Like I don't think we've interacted with them because this is a pretty new roster for the most part.
Yeah,
anyway,
I think it's even at the end when they're back to normal and Captain America is talking to Storm and Storm is lamenting about how no one trusts mutants, and Cap's like, well, no, you guys have proved to me now that you can be trusted. So yeah, they are meeting one another, and I completely agree with what you were saying. Like, I generally do like Conan and sword and sorcery stuff. I didn't really care for this one because it's too complex. It didn't have enough room to breathe. We needed more than 2 issues than this. And, we need an opportunity to explain some things a bit more, like Spider-Man's involvement. Again, I kind of feel like I'm lucky on this one because I had read that issue and I remembered it. But, if you hadn't, yeah, it's going to seem completely weird and odd. Let's see, and there's just so much going on, too, and the ramping up of things before turning back time. I knew all those characters that they were killing off weren't going to stay dead because I've read beyond this, and also I've read comic books, but it just seems like that ramping up was just trying to build up things as much as they could, because I knew they were going to fix it, and not even because I read forward. It's just the way it was happening. It's like, they can't leave it like this. They're going to completely break the X-Men if they do. So that felt a little obvious to me. And yeah, it's just so much confusion. Why are some of the Avengers, like the Scarlet Witch and the Vision, helping Kulan Gath, right? They were fighting him. I guess there's a slave spell or something like that, but it was just too much. I will say, we were on that recap page for a while. Let me go back to it. I did kind of like this recap page. I thought having Kulan Gath in the middle and then showing on the one side New York of our time and the people of our time, and then on the other side what he turned them into, I thought that was a clever ploy for the recap page. But, going back to that point of there's too much here, look at how many word balloons are on that page. And that's the recap page, right? That's a bit much.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, they're squeezing so much exposition into these 2 issues because, like, they're just trying to squeeze it all in. I mean, there's so many characters here. My biggest takeaway from this is I feel like, I missed crossover issues. Like, if you told me that there was a random Amazing Spider-Man and a random Avengers issue that tied into this book, I would not be surprised, and I'd want to go read them. So
yeah. Speaking of all the characters, you talked about how you like this cover. Want to play a game, Stojr?
Sure.
Can we name everyone on this cover?
All right.
Now,
let's see. I'm gonna have to look at my copy because it's gonna be a little hard to see on
it'll
here.
be hard. It'll be hard on the screen. We'll ignore the picture box, right? Because that's a gimme. And I'm willing to say that we can ignore the guys at the very top here who are behind the title, because I think those are general goons and maybe some of the warlocks who have never been named. I just realized what we're about to do is going to be awesome for the people who are just listening to this and not watching the video. But you know what? That was your choice. Come watch the videos. They're fun. All right. Should we start left to right underneath the X?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
So directly underneath the X, I have no idea because I don't think there's enough definition. I'm going to say that's probably a random goon, unless you got a person to name that for.
I think that is Magma, because we saw her in her Magma form once before, and I think that was in the previous issue, but I think that's who we have there.
That might make sense, and the sort of purple around her might be supposed to be like the flames or the stuff there. So okay,
there we go. So okay,
we'll go with that.
All right, to the right of her,
and then we got that's Danny Moonstar,
yep.
And then that's Cannonball,
and
then
got Renee, the wolf lady.
Wolfsbane?
To the right, yeah, Wolfsbane. Can we make out who's underneath Cannonball? I think that's just a goon.
Yeah, that's a goon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. To the right of Wolfsbane.
That's Warlock and then Sunspot.
Mm-hmm. Up above Sunspot, that's Celine, right?
Yep. And then I think that's supposed to be Rachel underneath Sunspot.
Yep. Okay, I agree with that. And I think the rest of those back there are just random goons.
Yep.
All right, so let's go underneath the Vision's armpit. I guess we're... Is that appropriate or not?
We got Captain America doing his best impression of I borrowed Thor's hair conditioner.
Or just Fabio. Was Fabio around in 84, or is Fabio later?
I mean, the books probably were. Yeah, maybe. Unless they were like in the 90s or something. I don't know.
Okay.
But
Then Scarlet Witch, right in there with the Vision's armpit. Nightcrawler under her.
Yep. Storm and either Ileana. I'm going to go with Ileana right next to Colossus.
I think you're right. I think that's Ileana. All right, underneath Storm.
That's Rogue.
I have no idea who the guy in the mask is.
And then next to him is Professor X.
Okay. All right. Who's got the Thor wings? Who's that woman there? Oh, that's the Wasp.
Yeah, that must be the Wasp. But that's her. That's probably her in. Is that her in like Cool and Goth?
I think so.
Like
Captain America's definitely in Cool and Goth garb.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah. So, and then you got Goons in between, and then you got Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's Star Fox. Is that right, Star Fox?
Star Fox. Yep, that's Thanos' brother.
Right.
Star Fox, who has a very problematic power because he makes you fall in love with him.
Mm-hmm.
They skirted him away. They had him in one movie as a after character, and I'm trying to remember who he was. Some famous actor or singer played him. He was at the end of the Eternals movie. And
I never saw that one.
You're fine not seeing.
Yeah.
That one I'll let you off the hook with.
Callisto next to that.
Callisto, and then
Sunder.
I think that's his name. The big brute. I think we got them all.
Do we not know who's in the cloak? I don't know why I feel like we should know that one, but I don't.
In the cloak.
Yeah, next to Sunder, to the left or to the right of Sunder.
Oh,
is that?
I was gonna say, well, it might be Mask.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Although the guy right above Uncanny kind of looks like Mask, but then he kind of could be a random goon too.
Yeah,
like the A in Uncanny, but yeah, that could be just a random goon, and then that's supposed to be Mask down at the bottom.
Okay, all right. I think we did pretty well on that. We've got our bona fides here.
There we go.
All right, I think that's enough fun and games there. Stojr, any other final thoughts on this issue?
No, I'm looking forward to getting back to normal times here.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it's normal in quotes here, at least for a little bit. All right, guys. Well, again, if you've enjoyed our thoughts, follow us on YouTube. We're going to read, rate, and review a full big collected edition comic once a month, plus these daily one-shots. So thank you again for watching. Thank you for listening. Go watch this one. Well, I don't know if that was that entertaining, but whatever. We're having fun. All right, we'll catch you guys next time.